We dropped the first official episode, The Astrology of It All, on my father's 62nd birthday, which also just so happened to be the 53rd anniversary of the Apollo 11 mission to the moon. In the episode, I shared some striking correlations to astrology and the first ever manned mission to the moon, including the fact it was during Cancer season and the moon itself is ruled by Cancer. We also talked about how the two astronauts that walked on the moon were Leo and Aquarius, which are opposite signs in astrology. We know that opposites are considered best in partnership because your opposite is really just a mirror. And the third astronaut, a Scorpio, who flew in a separate space module around the moon, but never actually landed on it. This was ironic because the moon is in fall when occupied by Scorpio. When a planet, like the moon, is in fall, it is in a very weak state. Of all the people to send to the moon, these three men were exceptionally perfect in terms of the astrology of it all. If you haven't listened to episode 1, go listen now. So, the moon is ruled by Cancer, and likewise, Cancer is the fourth sign of the zodiac and the ruler of the fourth house in astrology. Houses indicate a specific area in our life, such as community and friends, home and family, or work and health. Whichever planet or zodiac sign occupies that house or that area of your life indicates the type of energy or characteristics that are most active there. Every zodiac sign has a planet they rule or a planetary ruler, and each zodiac sign also has a house they rule. It's important to have a basic understanding of the 12 zodiac signs and the planets they are ruled by to better understand how they influence a particular house. We know that your natal chart is really just a snapshot of the sky at the exact time you were born. You already know what sign the sun was passing through on your birthday, but what sign was the moon passing through? What sign was Venus and Mars passing through? And what does that mean in addition to the fact you were born during Capricorn season, or whatever sign you were born during? In your natal chart, you may not have a planet in every house, or you could have a planet in a house that it does not rule, like me. Even though the sun rules the fifth house of astrology, my Leo sun was passing through the fourth house of astrology when I was born. Doesn't mean I'm any less Leo, just means my Leo is extra present in areas of my life pertaining to the fourth house of astrology. We'll break this down further in just a minute. Just know it's perfectly normal. Maybe all or some of your planets just so happen to be in the house they are ruled by. Sometimes you might meet someone with a planet in every house, or vice versa. Most of their planets only occupy the same few houses, neglecting the others. When we see a cluster of planets in the same house, this is known as a stellium. A stellium is something I can identify with as someone with multiple planets in Leo. Again, perfectly normal. Post-episode, you're challenged to study your natal chart, the planets and the houses they occupy, to better understand how they make up you. For the longest time, houses in astrology always confused me because, for one, there are several different house systems out there. Some of the most commonly used house systems would be whole signs, Placidus, and Porphyry. Depending on what resonates with you, you might find that one house system describes you better than others. Sometimes you might resonate with two houses because your planet falls on a cusp. Whatever the case may be, again, I strongly encourage you to research the house systems and learn about the houses you occupy. Personally, I use the whole signs house system and recommend it as well, but do your research. The houses and the areas they rule are available at nscrva.com/astrology under infographics. Think of these as cheat sheets while you listen here or study on your own. In my case, I was born when the Sun, Mercury, and Venus were passing through the sign of Leo. As far as my sun sign, this is literally like striking gold, because the Sun is at home in Leo. Likewise, at that very moment, those 3 planets were also passing through the 4th house of astrology. So essentially, as a Leo Sun, Mercury, and Venus, you're going to see me being my most Leo self in all the areas of my life that represent the 4th house of astrology. What does the 4th house represent? Being ruled by Cancer, a water sign, a nurturer, often known as the mother of the zodiac, it represents areas of my life pertaining to home and family, roots, foundations, and maternal instincts. As a water sign, that energy is very nurturing and caring. I'm very interested in my home, what feels like home, and being a natural caregiver to my loved ones. Similarly, I'm most Leo at home, where my family is, with my mother, or those who look at me as family. Oftentimes, I may naturally just feel like home to people. I also think about what home looked like for my mother, her mother, and my father's mother, because 4th house rules maternity. One thing I remember is how aesthetically pleasing their homes were, inside and out. They were all unique, fancy, clean, spacious, and literally had everything you could possibly need. There were always photos everywhere, fine china, and when I think about the home I want for myself, it's similar to that of my ancestors, but also because Leo wants everything grand and lavish, when I think about my dream home, it's big, it's modern, it's spacious, the walls are made of glass, maybe everything is white, the artwork is extensive and creates an aesthetic, the amount of imported greenery makes the oxygen taste good. My home is very important to me. And when my home is not in order, I am not in order. I am not my naturally confident, bold, fearless Leo self. I'm insecure, closed off, and at home probably. Or somewhere that I can call home until I can find a home to call my own. In contrast, Leo is known to be the center of attention. Dramatic, dogmatic, even trying to pass opinions as facts. Which is why making this podcast is extremely hard for me. People may assume as a Leo, I'm just here to act like I know it all and garner as much attention as possible. When in fact, that's not even where my Leo energy is directed. The type of attention I crave is at home, through my home, and my family. I crave for attention through what is home. In my kingdom or my jungle that I, the Leo lion, am ruler of. All of my drama is happening at home, behind closed doors, and in my crab shell known as the 4th house. If I was Leo in the 10th house of career and public roles, or Leo in the 1st house of self, I'd be more inclined to be Leo in an outward-facing capacity. Perhaps then all of the drama would be happening at work or within myself. Mercury is the planet of communication. So yes, naturally, as a Mercury in Leo, I'm supposed to be really good at public speaking because lions can roar. However, being that my Mercury in Leo is in the 4th house of home, you're probably only going to see this lion roar at home. Leo is also known to be extravagant, regal, over the top, and creative. I could go on because it is in fact Leo season right now, but the point is, yes, I'm all that and some at home. Places where I feel at home or with people that feel like home. We can't take away from the fact Leo is a fire sign. It possesses a lot of energy, it's ruled by the sun, and Leo season takes place during late July and August, which are the hottest months of the year. a time when everyone wants to be outside, having a good time, and looking good. Leo is also ruled by the 5th house of creativity, pleasure, and self-expression. The place where my creativity can shine, pleasure is prevalent, and myself can be greatly expressed at its highest capacity is at home. I love the idea of people coming to my house for leisure, pleasure, comfort. It's the exact type of environment I intend to create. That's why it has to be spacious. There's this incredible need to overstock on essential items for any given occasion or happenstance. When I amass a few million, we're talking about a safe house, bunker in the basement, to protect my loved ones. Everyone come here during the apocalypse, we'll be fine. I have enough food to pack a neighborhood Walmart, enough weapons to fill an army, you're good. That's where my Leo is at, the 4th house, ruled by Cancer. I don't know how else to drive that home, but welcome home. You're on Apollo's Landing. Understanding the houses I occupy helped me understand where to shift my focus, what questions to ask, what things I need to pay extra close attention to throughout my life. Similar to the crab, the animal associated with Cancer, my 4th house is my shell, my inner sanctuary, my private room. Once I learned that, I had to ask myself questions like, who should be allowed in my home? How should my home be decorated? How does my home make me feel? And what does overstaying your welcome look like? Knowing that I have heavy 4th house energy means I really have to keep these questions in the forefront as I navigate through life in order for me to be my best self. The best Leo, Sun, Mercury, and Venus that I can be. Literally, everything starts at home for me. As I turn 30 this year, I begin to look back at all the places I have called home throughout my life. What these places have looked like, how they have influenced me as a person, who I shared my home with, how it worked out or didn't, why or why not. When do I feel the most at home? There were, again, striking correlations to who I am as a person and the way I felt about home and family. The first time I moved away from my childhood home was freshman year of college at 18. I found out my roommate was letting people sleep on my side of the room when I'd commute home on the weekends. After my second semester, I moved in with a significant other for the first time at age 19. Ironically, I was only there for about 4 months before I decided I just didn't want to live with my significant other anymore. I couldn't really think of a real reason other than just not wanting it anymore. She was blindsided. At age 22, I moved in with my coworker and we lasted the entire 12-month lease. I wondered if she too had 4th house placements, but she had none. What she did have was a lot of fire sign energy in her chart, which matches with all my Leo energy because Leo is also a fire sign. Meaning it was just easy for us. Everything flowed. She came from a wealthy family who donated luxurious furniture and a huge flat screen TV when we moved in. The only reason we didn't renew the lease was because she decided to move in with her significant other instead. At 25, I lived with another significant other, and that lasted about 4 months as well, before again I decided I just didn't want that anymore. Still at this time, oblivious to my 4th house placements and what they stood for. After they moved out, I remained in the loft alone for a couple more years, entertained multiple women on and off, and at one point, even letting my ex crash on the couch for a few months. Just terrible, terrible things to do as a fourth house Leo. I was fortunate that my mother always invited me back home with open arms, and that resonated with me as well. Her mother extended the same grace to them for years into adulthood until they found a home of their own. At 27, I shared a loft with my best friend of 15 years, and we almost lasted the entire 12 months being drama-free. It wasn't until we invited other people to frequent our home and failed to communicate or set boundaries that drama ensued. Sprinkle in the fact that Leo has a need to control. When I lose control of the place I call home, everything falls apart for me in that instant. All is well now, but wherever there is Leo energy, there is drama in your life for sure. Now at age 29, with just a week remaining as I record this, I'm actually living with another fourth house Leo, and our concepts of home and family are a little different. Not to mention their sun in Leo is the only planet in their fourth house. In short, it quickly became clear to me that perhaps I just need to live alone so that I can be in control and create a space that embodies who I am, being that self-expression is key for Leo. I noticed that whenever I visit other people's homes, I pay extra attention to architecture, details, decor, scents, and furniture placement. How overall aesthetically pleasing it is. Your home is a reflection of how you are raised, your daily routines, and your personality. Your home can speak volumes. And now that I understand houses and astrology, I understand just how true that statement is to me. In true Leo fashion, I've utilized my own natal chart as the center of attention for this episode, simply because it's the easiest to reference. You're encouraged, challenged even, to obtain an accurate natal chart and study the houses your planets occupy. These connections won't happen overnight. They may take weeks, months, or years to make sense. However, if you continue to seek the answers you need, they will come. They will reveal themselves in your everyday life, especially in the areas where these planets are most active. You won't be able to avoid them for long. Take a look at what planets occupy your first house. Those are extra present in your personality because the first house rules self. It's who you appear to be on the outside or the sign that people might often mistake you as. Planets in your 10th house represent the energy you bring to your career and public image. Planets in your 7th house represent your relationships and partnerships, both romantic and platonic. The signs in your houses indicate the characteristics and personality traits you bring forth in those areas of your life. Imagine what you can do with this information once you possess it. You can focus on harnessing that energy, cultivating it, and making it work in your favor. To my Leos, happy Leo season. Find out what makes you roar, and then find out how to embrace it in a healthy way. To everyone else, find out where the biggest amounts of energy are being directed in your chart, so you can utilize it, nurture it, and protect it just the same. You're on Apollo's landing.